Welcome to Lock It Down Sports. I'm your host, Locke Hoover. You can follow me on Twitter at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on Twitter. You can also check us out at E5280 Sports. It's E5280 Sports. And today on the show, how Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin benefited working with each other. If this really works at this college football program. But first, I want to get into this. And I've been seeing a lot of rumblings, a lot of moaning and groaning and complaining about the Braves and their moves and Alex Anthopoulos not doing enough. Not doing enough to prepare this team for the postseason. And if you ask me, I don't understand the hate, the upset, the issue with it. He first goes out and gets Jorge Soler. Braves obviously needed an outfielder, and they got one. With Acuna down, Harris out, and you know the situation. And then he also goes back and gets Luke Jackson for some bullpen depth, which if the Braves make the postseason, I don't know if Luke Jackson even makes the roster. But he's got options. It's a depth piece, and sometimes you need that another solid, decent arm to throw when you're down 2, 3, 4 to try to hang them or hold on to them right there and get back into it. That's really what Luke Jackson is on this team. He's not your 1, 2, 3 best reliever. I mean, in my opinion, you've got Dylan Lee, of course, Marcelo Iglesias, Pierce Johnson, Joey Benez. Those 4 are way better than Luke Jackson. That's your top 4. Obviously, you're right there. Aaron Bummer and Luke Jackson are kind of the same. And then you've got, obviously, Chavez and someone else who we'll speak of a little bit later on. So depth piece, that's fine. But I want to speak about Soler. I think, first and foremost, I don't know if the Braves go and get Jorge Soler in the offseason. And this coming up offseason. I mean, maybe they do. But I feel like there would have been a lot more competition. And they would have to give up a lot more than they did to go get him in this offseason. They like Soler. They wanted to get him back when they didn't re-sign him, or that they let him walk 2 years ago. They wanted to get him back, and they wanted to re-sign him. Alex Anthopoulos said they liked him. They couldn't get him back. They didn't get him back, whatever the case may be. I think he's with this ball club next year. I do. And Kelenic becomes your 4th outfielder. And with all the troubles you've seen in the Braves outfield the last few years, from an injury and health standpoint, I think you feel good and you feel okay with Kelenic as your 4th outfielder, coming to play defense for Soler, giving Michael Harris a day next year, giving maybe potentially Acuna a day to keep him healthy and fresh. Now Soler as well, he's hit 260 with the Braves, 4 homers, 11 RBIs, and 46 at-bats. Had a long on-base streak continuing to go, and that was before he pitched it the other night and didn't get on. Fine upgrade in all forms in the matter is Jorge Soler. I mean, obviously, it's hard to account for injuries, especially your stars, plus not knowing when, who, how they're coming back. But guys are coming back at some point. You've had to Band-Aid this thing together, and your Band-Aids have played well. Let's try that again. Whit Merrifield, there we go. And Ramon Laureano. for the Braves has hit 286, 6 homers, 12 RBIs, and 98 at bats. Remember, he was hitting 143 and 70 at bats when he was DFA, when he was designated for assignment. I mean, obviously, you're not going to place Ronald Acuna. Not many people are. No one is. And he's having a solid average. And being about as productive as you can ask for him to be with the Braves. And he's essentially taken over that starting spot from Adam Duvall, who has not hit a lick this year at all. Then you go and get a middle infield depth and Whit Merrifield. Solid hitter, hitting 280. That's his career average, 280. Hitting 258 with the Braves, which isn't eye-popping, but he is a player, when you watch him, he does all these little things to help you win a ball game. That defensive play, that bunt, that getting those runners over, the steal, just a little old single to extend an inning. Just a measly 1 for 3. But he turns that into something. And he's a guy that he's a ball player, as I say. And that's what the Braves need, especially right now with how this lineup is constructing. This roster is a little bit different than obviously it was coming into this season. You need that grit player. And that's what the Braves have in Whit Merrifield. And he's done wonders for the Braves this year. Now, many want to say it may be a lost season as it's a throwaway season. But look, they're still battling for this wild card spot. And even that alone, the Braves have discovered something on this depth, on this roster, and in the minor leagues. And that's their pitching staff. The first one I want to talk about is Grant Holmes. He's gone from a story to a player. I mean, he went from just a guy, we need a fresh arm. He's thrown pretty well in the minors in AAA. But he's 33. We'll just, have him up here and throw for a little while, fresh arm, then we'll DFA him. Maybe he gets through back to the minors, maybe not. Who knows? To a long man. He's done pretty solid in long man. To that last man in the bullpen. To, know what? We need a guy. We need to start. We need to be picked up. Pretty solid in his few starts in rotation. To becoming an important piece in this Braves bullpen. And that wasn't any more evident than in this Philadelphia series, where in a tie ball game, he comes in and pitches 2 scoreless innings. 2 scoreless innings when everybody was available because they were coming off of an off day. That's the confidence the Braves have in Grant Holmes right now and how he's pitched. And if he continues to do this, you think he's got a spot in this bullpen next year, right? Or a very likable piece. I mean, I don't know why I'm yawning there, but anyway. Yeah, he's a piece this year, and I think he's going to be a piece next year as well. Because of his options, he didn't have any options. And if you don't have options, you're in a good spot. In grand scheme of things, because there's a chance that you might get lost. Team might claim you if you DFA him, release him, whatever. We've seen that this year just based on the Braves roster. And Dylan Lee being sent down because he has options. And Desbal Hernandez being sent down because he has options. That's a blessing and a curse. And that's really where the Braves are right now when it comes to this bullpen and guys. And Holmes is becoming a guy that they feel good about. The other thing that has been discovered this year, not a surprise either, it's not a secret any longer, Spencer Schwellenbach. He looks every bit of a long-term answer for this Braves rotation for years to come. Throws hard, 95 to 97. He's got 5 pitches. And he learned a splitter in the big leagues. If that's not impressive, I don't know what is. And that's going to go a long way because Morton's probably going to be gone. He's probably going to retire. And sadly, I don't see them replacing and Max Fried. I don't see them re-signing Fried. I wish they did. I don't see that happening. That right there is immediately 2 rotation spots open. Where's one of them going? I think Spencer Schwellenbach has penciled his name in that rotation for that 3rd, 4th spot in the rotation. And it's a good spot to be in. And he looks really good as a rookie. He's only going to get better. He's going to have to watch his innings this year. They say they aren't, but they kind of are. Hasn't pitched a lot, but he's only getting better and continuing to get better. And that's at the very worst, at a disaster of this season has been on the injury front. That's 2 bright spots. Now, the other guy, of course, I didn't mention because it's still a wait and see, is Gio Urshela, who come in to replace Austin Riley. I mean, it was fortunate the Braves were able to get him and him be available when he was. The timing of the unfortunate Austin Riley injury, he's basically out for the season. Maybe comes back if the Braves make it to the postseason. But he's done. So you're able to get a big leaguer, professional hitter in Gio Urshela. Made some great plays on defense this week already in the Philly series. Solid contact hitter, not a big power guy. But the Braves are going to have to string together hits more. That's how this lineup is constructed now, as opposed to sit back and 3-run homer. That's not who they are anymore. I have to string hits together, and I think that's something that Gio Urshela can bring to this offense, and the Braves need him to. They really do. They have to have something from him. They can't get nothing from him. And speaking of nothing, we got something in a new book that confirms what we all really thought and saw during their time as coaches. And that's Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban not getting along with them coaching together. This was told by Jimmy Sexton. It's the power agent of basically every big-time college football coach. Jimmy Sexton's their agent. But Sexton told Saban to hire Lane Kiffin when he got fired at Southern Cal. And it's like, watching, Alabama and Nick Saban and that coaching staff and that sideline, you could tell as seasons wore on that Saban and Kiffin did not see eye to eye at all. Bunch of disgruntlements, and you could see Saban chewing Lane Kiffin out multiple times on the sideline. It's like, oh, whoa. Saban going at it and going after Lane Kiffin, just, this is not how we do things, just, being Nick Saban. And one thing that Nick Saban did not like about Lane Kiffin was, in this book, he said, from an excerpt, Lane Kiffin was the only coach he could not control and would constantly question Nick Saban. And I can see that with the back and forth that they have going on, even on the sidelines. And honestly, I think to some extent, this benefited Saban because he accepted a passing initiative offense that Kiffin brought. I mean, you saw how like dynamic the offense had changed with Lane Kiffin running the offense for Nick Saban. It's not an offense you've seen before at Alabama under Nick Saban until Kiffin got there. To me, you could tell the tried and true. This is the Saban / Alabama way. This is how things are done. This is how we always do things. I'm Nick Saban. I've won multiple national championships. It works. This is what we're doing. I mean, obviously, it was Saban's word of the highway, and we saw that with Kiffin. I mean, Nick Saban told Kiffin basically not to coach in the national championship game after he took the Florida Atlantic job with Steve Sarkisian. I was an offensive analyst, came down to be the OC. We're good, Lane. Thank you for your service. Don't you got to go prepare and recruit and get Florida Atlantic ready to go, right? And that just showed you right there a national championship game. We're good. We're good. We're okay. We got it. I like Sarkisian. I trust him. And all this, though, I think it benefited both Kiffin and Nick Saban working with each other. On one end, you could tell how much Kiffin had changed as a coach at Southern Cal and Tennessee compared to how he is at Ole Miss. I mean, the demeanor, the style. Yeah, Kiffin's still going to have some of those things in what he does, but how he handles the press, how he answers questions, much more the school of Saban-esque. And that's what happens, the Saban rehabilitation program we've seen, the list goes on and on. Butch Jones, Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin. That just the school of fired head coaches at major programs coming in as analysts under Nick Saban. I also think Nick Saban benefited as well, and here's why. Because Kiffin, that is, would give him a different idea, I think a different viewpoint, a different perspective, maybe some other coaches didn't see, didn't give him, or maybe they thought of the OC, the defensive coordinator, the secondary coach at the time, whoever, the offensive line coach, whoever was there, because, about every 2-3 years, they'd be off and have head coaching jobs or coordinator jobs, whatever position they were. They might not have said that, stood up to Nick Saban because they were going to get their butt chewed out. They might not have had a good recommendation from Nick Saban when they're looking for head coaching jobs. Kiffin spoke his mind, didn't have an issue with it of, know what? Here's what I think. Here's what it is. And I'm going to tell it to you, Nick, regardless of if you like it or not. Here it is. And that's where I think benefited Saban from that. The a coach willing to speak his mind, regardless if he knows he was going to get shut down anyway. Speaking of getting shut down, I want to kind of shut down the Missouri head coach right quick. Eli Dierkowitz, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, just relax a little bit, trying to talk up his program. So that their first game should be a sellout, and then he'll be upset if it's not. He also said, we are not where we want to be as a fan base and as a program if we can't sell out our first game. In this presser, he also mentioned that, you know what, we're a top 11 program coming off a Cotton Bowl championship. I heard that, read that, I was like, oh my goodness, come on, guys. Come on, Eli. First off, Do real top programs brag about coming off a New Year's 6-day bowl game win? New Year's Day bowl games that aren't playoff games are just cool, man. You knew your 6-day bowl, but I mean, really, what's the significance of a New Year's Day 6 bowl when half your team, half their team sits out? Like, what is it at this point? Really? Yeah, it's a quote unquote supposed to be a prestigious bowl game, but it's like let's see who shows up. Let's see who plays. Also, having to tell people we're a top 11 program, guys. You should show up to see us, a top 11 program. I guess he's referring to the preseason rankings. Once again, preseason rankings. How much do you really take into that? Is that more of like a grain of salt? Also, I mean, those two things is just like, come on, really? You're Missouri guy. I get it. New Year's 6-day bowl, ranked in the top 11. You're ranked 11th this year, preseason. But also, you're playing Murray State on a Thursday at 8 p.m. I'll say that again. Murray State on a Thursday. And there's been reported and seen limited tailgating options. I mean, you're getting on the fans because they're not showing up on a Thursday against Murray State. Schedule a better game. If you're really pissed off about it, schedule a better game. And maybe, just maybe, fans will show up and your fans will get excited for that game. Speaking of excited, I'm excited for college football. It is here. It's on its way, and it's close. Get high school football starting this Friday. College next week, and I guess week 0 kind of counts, but I mean, week 1 really the following week. And then NFL, it's here. College football is here, and that's what the exciting part is. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Lock It Up Media. That's Lock It Up Media on Twitter. I'm Locke Hoover. You've been listening to Lock It Down Sports. I'll talk to you next week.